book on the Kane County Cougars, the Arcadia book, David Malamut, who's going to speak about the 2000 Midwest League All-Star Game, which was held at Elsom Street Stadium, the Kane County Cougars place in Geneva. So, David.
The Midwest League played its 43rd annual All-Star Game at Philippi Elsom Stadium in Geneva, Illinois, home of the Kane County Cougars. It was the second time in their history that the Cougars had hosted the All-Star Game, first time being in their third season in 1993. In '93, their All-Stars were two unknown players like Charles Johnson and Edgar Renneria. In the game in 2000, the Western Division would beat the Eastern Division 5-3 before a crowd of 8,162 fans. Since there were 7 teams in the West and 5 in the East, they held a lottery to see which Western Division team would be playing in the East for the game, and it was Burlington won the lottery. Elsom Stadium was built in 1991, but when the Warsaw Timbers moved down to Geneva to become the Kane County Cougars. Here's the front of the All-Star Game scorecard with the Cougar logo as part of the All-Star logo and all the other team logos all around. Yes, I was there with family. I had season tickets to the Cougars back then. And I guess I showed this. This was the giveaway, one of the roster giveaways. If I can open it. This and then inside. This is all in on the cover of the Midwest League Media Guide for 2000 is an overhead shot at Elsom Stadium. It has changed a bit since 2000.
Not to spoil the ending here, but if you had that, because I see there's photos of all the players that participated, if you'd gotten them all to sign it, would that be worth something?
Yes, it would. Looking at some.
Hold on.
Okay. That's what he's getting to.
Now on to who actually was in the game. Just the names you might recognize. A few of them. For the East, West Michigan Whitecats manager was Bruce Fields. He played for the Tigers in 16 games in 1986, and the Mariners for 42 games in 88-89. He would eventually move up through their farm system in the coaching ranks and eventually become Tigers minor league coordinator in 2013. Calvin Chipperfield of West Michigan Whitecats would start the game for the Eastern Division. In 2000, he would go 12-3 with a 2.13 ERA in 24 games, with 3 complete game shutouts. He also threw a no-hitter against the Kane County Cougars on June 13th, in Game 2 of a doubleheader. After his time in the Midwest League, he would make it up to Double-A in 2000 and stall out there. On the western side, the manager was Don Money of the Beloit Snappers. Yes, the same Don Money who had played for the Phillies and Brewers in a 16-year career in the majors from 68 to 83. He would also play in the Midwest League in 66 for Clinton, the Clinton Pilots, in his second year in pro ball. He hit .236 in 125 games as a 19-year-old in the Pirate system. He would also manage the Snappers for 7 years from 98 to 2004, losing in the finals twice. Jose Misas of the Snappers would start for the Western Division. He would go 13-6 with a 2.53 ERA in 21 starts, 2 complete game shutouts. His second year in pro ball as a 22-year-old. He would give up 2 hits and a run with 2 strikeouts in his inning of work in the game. For the East, they had power in their lineup, with Austin Kearns of the Dayton Dragons hitting 4th. He would be in his 2nd year in the league as he played for Rockford the year before. Rockford moved to Dayton before the 2000 season. In 2000, he would hit 306 in 136 games, hitting 27 homers and driving in 104. As many of you would know, he went on to the majors for 12 years with the Reds, Nationals, Indians, Yankees, and Marlins. But he still holds the league record for most consecutive games with a home run at 8. He would hit homers from July 17th through the 24th of 2000 to set that record. In the All-Star game that year, he would go 1 for 4 with the first inning double to drive in the first run of the game off Mises. Hitting 6th for the East was Michigan Battle Cat and Houston Astros prospect Jason Lane. In 2000, he hit 299 in 133 games with 23 homers and 104 runs batted in, which earned him a trip straight to AA to start out the 0-1 season. He would end up in Houston in 2002. In all, he would spend 7 years in the majors with both the Astros and the Padres. Brian Ward of the Fort Wayne Wizards hit 9th for the Eastern Division. He would never make it to above high A, but in 2000 he hit 286 in 106 games for the Padres affiliate. The reason why he is so important to this game is that he hit a 3rd inning leadoff homer to make it 2-0 off of Wisconsin Timber Rattler Aquilino Lopez. Ward would get released by the Padres in 2001. In the 2001 season, played the next 4 years in the Independent League, playing for the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks. On the pitching side, for the Eastern Division, Andy Van Hecken of the Western Michigan Whitecaps. Van Hecken went 16-6 with a 2.45 ERA in 26 games with 3 complete games and 1 shutout. He would make 5 starts for the Tigers in 2002. After that, he bounced around the Tigers minor league system until 2004, when he would pitch for the Braves, Reds, Royals, and Astros systems. After that, he pitched in Mexico in 2011. He spent the past 4 seasons in Korea. But in those 4 years, he's gone 58-32 with a 3.54 ERA and 120 starts. You all may recognize this guy.
Any relation to Jake?
Also pitching for the Eastern Division for the Fort Wayne Wizards was future ace Jake Peavy. Back then, he was a 19-year-old in his 2nd pro season. He would go 13-8 with a 2.90 ERA in 26 games for the Padres affiliate. In the All-Star game, he would give up a hit and strike out 2 batters. After playing in the Midwest League, he would go on to pitch for the Padres, White Sox, Red Sox, Giants, with a combined 147 and 117 record in 14 years. That's why I did not get that page autographed, because I got the cards autographed. For the Western Division, 2nd hitter up was Kane County Cougars' own Matt Padgett. In 2000, he would hit 233 with 12 homers in 125 games for the Cougars. After that, he would bounce around the Marlins and Phillies systems before playing many years in the Atlantic League. In this game, he would go 4 for 5 with 4 singles and a run scored. He's still playing last year in the Independence at 37. Hitting 4th, you might recognize him. He signed things as Jose Albert Pujols back then. And that's what he was called also. Hitting 4th for the West was arguably the best hitter in the game, Albert Pujols of the Peoria Chiefs. In 2000, he would hit .324 in 109 games with the Chiefs, hitting 17 homers and driving in 84. Well, you all know what he has done in the majors. In this game, he would go 1 for 3 with a single and a run. With runners on first and second, in a 7th inning and 1 out, he would get the only intentional walk in the game, which loaded the bases. Coming in as a replacement in the 6th inning at shortstop and hitting 9th would be Bill Hall of the Beloit Snappers. In 2000, he would hit .262 in 130 games with 123 hits as a 20-year-old in the Brewer system. In all, he would play 11 seasons in the majors with the Brewers, Mariners, Red Sox, Astros, Giants, and Orioles. Here's the newspaper coverage of the game from the Daily Herald writer Oren Schwartz, along with the box score from the game. The article focused, of course, as Kane County, on the all-star representatives from the Cougars: Matt Paget, Matt Frick, Todd Mosier, Kevin Hooper, and Brian Moore. Next page. Here's the game story on the all-star game from Daily Herald writer, and he covered the Cougars as the beat, Joe Bush. Kane County's own Brian Moore got the win in the Western Division. He was a closer for the Cougars and held the saves record, the franchise saves record before this past season with 27. In 2000, he would go 5-2 with a 3.10 ERA in 58 games. In this game, he would pitch 1 inning and strike out 1 hitter. But there's one interesting thing. He spoke at the winter banquet that year, that the Cougars winter banquet. And I won't forget what he said. It was, if I never throw another pitch, I'd be okay with that, as I have followed my dream in playing pro baseball. Well, in spring training, he threw out his arm and needed Tommy John, and he never threw another pitch. Here's your Cub representative. Getting the loss, or at least in this, in here. Getting the loss for the Eastern Division with Cubs player John Webb, the Lansing Lugnuts. In 2000, he would go 7-6 with a 2.47 ERA and 21 starts with the Lugnuts. After that, he spent the next 2 years at High 8 Daytona before making it to West 10 in AAA, then moving on to the Tampa organization. He would make the majors with the Rays in 2004-05 in 5 games. Getting the save for the West was Quad City Rivers Juan Padilla. He was in his second season at Davenport. In 2000, he went 2-2 with a 1.91 ERA in 32 games and 16 saves. After that, he would make it to the majors with the Yankees in 2004 and the Mets in 2005. Were going on to pitch in the independent leagues. He would see 42 major league games in 2 seasons. Kane County Cougars, Matt Paget was named MVP of the game, going 4 for 5 with 4 singles and a run. It would be the second MVP of an All-Star game in 3 years for the Cougars, as Ross Glode won it in '98. Here's the complete roster for the Eastern Division. On the East, Lansing's Matt Bruback, Dayton's Braxton Whitehead, and Eric Welsh. They had both been promoted before the game, so they didn't appear. Here's the complete roster for the Western Division. Peoria's Chad Yates was selected, but was on the disabled list, so he couldn't play. And yes, I kept score.
Yes, bravo.
Hey,
That's hard. All-star games are hard.
right here. I'm surprised I didn't keep pitch count. Back then I did for most games. Now you might say those were some good players. Well, let's see some of the players that were not selected for the All-Star game. Carlos Hernandez from Michigan Battle Cats, he would go 6-6 with 3.82 ERA in 22 games started. 2 complete games and a shutout. He would later on pitch in the majors for Houston for 3 years, going 9-8 in 35 games. He would pitch a no-hitter against the Whitecaps on May 28th in Game 2 of a doubleheader of 2000. Chris?
Yeah, I know that guy.
David had another big home run hitter that year, Adam Dunn. In 2000, he would hit 281 in 122 games, 16 homers, and driving in 79. He didn't play in the game. He was injured. The funny thing is, he walked 100 times that year. He only struck out 101. He would go on to play 14 years in the majors, hitting 462 homers. Pitching side, Cedar Rapids had John Lackey, pitching for them in 2000. He would go 3-2 with a 2.08 ERA and 5 starts for the Cardinals before being promoted to High A. 2002, he would make his major league debut with Anaheim. The Cougars had one more prospect that year. Anyone have any clues?
Let's see, 2000, what year?
2000. Big #1 draft pick.
Adrian Gonzalez.
Adrian Gonzalez?
01. He just
Overall draft pick?
Beckett?
Packer wasn't picked first overall, I was gonna bet.
He was in the first round. I don't know.
He was a first-round pick.
Cougars had another great player in 2000. #1 pick, Josh Beckett. He would go 2-3 with a 2.12 ERA in 13 games with the Cougars. He spent most of the year under the St. Louis. He would get injured midway through the first half and wouldn't pick up his first pro win until June. By 2001, he would be in the majors with the Marlins. He was a tough guy to get over.
Hey Dave, you got another battery?